Hello, my name is Joseph Armstrong from T's Productions. In today's video, we will go over how to format your spreadsheet, apply formulas, and do a rudimentary analysis with said formulas. For today's video, we will be using a randomly generated spreadsheet of a high school class of 49. The names and grades are randomly generated, and no real-life grades or people are used for this example. Any parallels to real-life people in this worksheet are purely coincidental. With those legalities out of the way, let's get to the examples. Let's start off by making the spreadsheet easier to navigate and see. With cell C2 selected, go to the View tab. Click the Freeze Panes button. Select the Freeze Panes option on the top. Now when we scroll through the spreadsheet, we can see each assignment title, and each student no matter where or how you scroll. Now that we have our document formatted, let's briefly talk about formulas. In Microsoft Excel, you can use a variety of formulas to calculate a variety of values. There are even formulas you can use on cells with only text. So let's break down how Excel does formulas with the sum formula. Each time you want to use a formula, you must use an equals sign. An equals sign tells Excel to make this cell a formula. Otherwise, Excel will treat the cell we want to use a formula as a cell with text. After you have typed in the equals sign, we now need to type in the word sum. Any text you use after you type in the equals sign will be treated as if it's a formula. If you type in text that isn't a formula, and the text has no purpose in any formula in that cell, you may get errors from Excel not understanding what you want to do. The sum formula adds any cell you specify within parentheses. In this example, we are adding every cell between A2 and A10. For this video's first formula, we will be using the COUNTIF formula. This formula that will count the amount of cells that fit the criteria specified. Within the parentheses of the COUNTIF formula, there are two parts to this formula. The first part tells Excel what values to use when counting. For this example, we are trying to count the values for the pre-class test, so we will specify cells C3 to C52 to use for this formula. The second part of this formula tells Excel what we want to count. In this formula, we want to see how many students pass the pre-class test. So we will tell Excel through this formula to count the amount of scores above 70%. So let's type in the formula to cell C52. After you're done with that, type in the same formula, only now, count the number of students that didn't pass the pre-class test. Next, let's see what the average score was for this test. To do this, type in equals average, and then specify the test scores from the pre-class test. Finally, calculate the minimum and maximum scores for this test, as shown here. It appears as if this class has a ways to go in test scores. Once we have our formulas typed up, let's tessellate the formulas across all of the assignments. After you have the formulas set up as seen here, let's conditionally format the test scores. Then, do the same thing to the current grades of the students. Next, conditionally format the average test scores and the amount of students that passed or failed the assignments. For this next formula, we will be trying to identify the problem students through the if formula. The if formula is a three-component formula that runs a test based off a formula specified within the if formula. In this example, the test is if the student has a current grade above 70%. Because we want to identify students with a grade below 70%, we will have the formula say no if the student has a grade above 70%, and conversely, the formula will say yes if the student does not have a grade above 70%. In this example, a student with a grade of exactly 70 will be labeled as a problem student. However, a student with a grade of 70.01 will not be labeled as a problem student. Now that you know how the if formula works, type a formula into your worksheet and tessellate the formula. Now let's filter the data, and then see who has the highest test score for Chapter 2. Oh, it appears as if we have an issue with our layout. Use Ctrl+Z or press the undo button to undo this accident, then select the formulas at the bottom of the list, and then cut them. At line 1, right-click the left side of Excel, and select Insert Cut Cells. Now the formulas exist outside of the filtered area, and are no longer affected by our filters. With these Excel tricks, we can now identify students like Karen that may need additional help with tests and assignments. This concludes our video on how to use various formulas in Excel to analyze a set of data, as well as making the data easier to read. As always, please make sure to like and subscribe for more videos on how to use Microsoft Office.